So real-time streaming with a massive audience, as you might have realized, is a bit tricky. So you have to have tight tolerances in a lot of things. So having your own platform helps, but you should be aware of what you are getting into. But when you have set things up right, which we can help with, it is perfect. So we will be real-time streaming with a massive audience and scaling our streaming to 25,000 viewers with a synthetic load. And so the solution. So the problem with WebRTC is that it is connection-based, unlike HLS or Dash, which are chunked protocols. So the pro of WebRTC is that latency is much improved, but as demonstrated, there's a huge con, it is much harder to scale. Since it's not possible to scale out through CDNs, you have to have a smart solution. And we say that Ant Media Server solves this problem with a highly scalable cluster solution that uses an origin and edge architecture. You can deploy this with auto-scaling on AWS and Microsoft Azure. You can also deploy on AWS quickly with the CloudFormation template that we have available, which we will be using for the demonstration today. We also support Kubernetes on any cloud provider that supports it for an auto-scaling streaming cluster. So why would you need to scale? For many use cases, a massive audience is required and part of the business model. So for webinars, such as this one, live and hybrid events where a massive audience might turn up, a e-learning use case where the class might be very large, and there are so many more use cases from gaming to auctions and gambling. So there are a lot of use cases for scaling this WebRTC with ultra-low latency to a massive audience. So you can use the advantages of WebRTC with this massive audience that you have to stream to. So Ant Media Server is a complete streaming solution that supports most streaming scenarios. And so we went over these. Let's start here again. So the instance type decision, as demonstrated, is key. So you have to know your audience beforehand. And we had a bit of a higher turnout than estimated. So we should have probably estimated higher. So the instance type decision is key. The license type decision is key. And we have a cost calculator to help with this. You can also contact us at contact@antmedia.io, and we would love to help you with anything that you have in mind. And we also have a new and exciting license that removes the need to estimate these things beforehand, and you can just scale your cluster on the fly. For today's demonstration, we have chosen to go with the AWS CloudFormation due to its high reliability, and you will see that was separate from the webinar case. We will also be monitoring this streaming cluster. So let me make some advertisement here. So the pay-as-you-go license is a good solution if you cannot estimate your needs beforehand and you want to scale as much as you want and you require the flexibility. You can also mix and match your existing licenses, and this is great for cases where some of the cluster has to run 24/7 and you will be scaling over that as the need arises. So you can do pretty much everything with this pay-as-you-go license, and it is currently in beta, so we are awaiting your feedback on this, and we would love to work together. So the test architecture we will be demonstrating today is a classic Ant Media Server cluster that was built using the AWS CloudFormation template, and this has a load balancer, a MongoDB instance, one origin instance, as we will just be streaming one stream. We will have 25 edge instances. Each will handle approximately 1,500 viewers, and we will be monitoring this setup using Kafka and Grafana. Our test bench will be made up of 20 servers, which we will be using to load the streaming cluster. And this will provide us a validation of our test. So the metrics that we will be tracking are the instance CPU usage percentiles, the random access memory usage, the number of instances, the number of viewers, as well as stream quality metrics such as end-to-end latency and send frame rates for video and audio, also the video and audio bit rates. So with that said, hopefully, finally, we can get started with the demonstration. So, Mr. Burak, are we ready?
Yes, we are ready, Emre. Okay, we are on Grafana screen. And
yes.
Now we have one stream right now, it's on, and zero load right now. And we will load that server, load that the cluster that you told with the viewers right now. We will load the server step by step. In each step, we will create 5,000 viewers. Maybe we can start with the first step.
All right, let's get started then. Let's see how the server handles it. So this is the one we set up. All right, so the Grafana has, of course, some sort of refresh rates. So we might not be seeing the instant result, but we will soon see how the server cluster reacts. So as you can see, we are tracking multiple metrics here from the viewer count. Oh wow, that just shot up really high. And as you can see, in response, the CPU loads are increasing, and you can also track these using Grafana. As there are instance CPU loads per instances, and we are quickly increasing, and nothing seems to be crashing, so that's where the expertise comes in. As you can see, we have a lot of metrics available, and you can also use Grafana in your own projects to monitor the status of your streaming cluster. So we have quickly reached around 5,000 viewers thanks to our test bench. And if we can provide a link to the stream, we can let you watch the stream itself.
Okay, then Emre, now we already accessed the first step, the first 5,000. And if we are ready, then we can create the second part.
All right, sure, hit it. Let's see what happens.
In this demo, we are planning to access 25,000 viewers for a single stream, actually. But previously, we had similar tests, and we have already documented them. We have some blog posts for more higher values, where we can share the links also for that blog post. Now I think the second party is okay. Then maybe we can start the third part. Let's access to 15,000. Now we have 10,000 viewers. Now we have started to third party. CPU load is increasing again for all edges that shows us load balancer works good. WEbRTC is CPU intensive protocol, as you know, so CPU values are important for us. These frames set period and the other periods are related to the quality, actually. These rates should not be changed with the increasing load to keep the video quality stable. audio frames rate is okay, video frame rate okay, CPU is increasing, and also the number of the viewers is almost 15,000 after the first step. Maybe we can start the fourth one to access 20,000.
Burak, sorry, can you send the link, stream link?
To play?
Yeah.
Okay, please don't use that one. Okay, because this is origin, the direct origin server link. Let me send the correct one. Okay, in that one, as you see, there is a port, 5443 port. If you connect with that link, then you will be forwarded to the edge servers. As Emre told, we have 25 edge servers right now, but only one origin server. If you use without 5443 port, then all loads will be go to the origin server. As I said, it's a single server, and it cannot handle that load. So please use the link that I have sent, and you can also play the stream right now. I think you will see me on that link. Can you see me? Okay. Maybe we can check the latency test. I can share my screen and I can open some browser that shows the atomic number. By the way, I think the fifth step is started, and now we have 22,000 viewers plus you.
We are nearly there to 25K. That's exciting.
Yes, actually this is a live demo. As I mentioned previously, we have some tests like that, and we have some blog posts, but this is a live demo. You can play the stream under high load. You can see the latency.
So I will urge everyone to join in the link and see for yourselves how this stream is going, while also being under load to 25,000 viewers at the same time, as well as me.
By the way, that I read some out of sync. Maybe it's related to the Zoom and that stream synchronization. Maybe I can turn off my audio from the Zoom and I can talk from Antmedia. Then you can listen me there. Maybe I can share my screen and show you. Okay, I have shared my screen on my stream, and I want to show you the dashboard. As you see, we have around 25,000 viewers. Actually, it passed it. There are 4 viewers that plays the stream with the HLS, and we have 25,000 viewers with WebRTC right now. Most of you, I think, familiar with this dashboard, but let me show you. As you see, we have servers here. I think this one is the origin server that I publish my video directly, and these are the edge servers. And as you see, all of them are loaded, and their CPU load is about 50 to 60 right now. Is there any problem with my audio?
Not through the stream of Antmedia, but you are muted on Zoom, I think.
Okay. Can you see me? Okay. You can see my screen and you can hear me. Okay. Now maybe we can test latency. Maybe we can use that. Times. Okay, maybe you can compare the time with your player to check the latency on your end. You can open the same site and you can compare latency.
You can also look at it through Zoom and see if there is a latency difference between AntMedia and Zoom there.
This is my screen, actually it's my stream. Now let me check how many viewers do we have. Okay, it's 25,000 plus the participants in that meeting. Maybe we can continue with the questions if everybody understands what we are.
So let me go over the questions, guys. So by the way, thank you for this webinar, everyone, and thank you for your patience. The first question is, what cloud hosting services are known to be best to run AntMedia server? Maybe Emre, do you want to answer this one?
I mean, this is quite a tricky question to answer. It kind of depends on your needs. So the best depends on your cost requirements, your performance requirements, your convenience requirements. So to decide between these cloud providers, you can contact us over at contact@antmedia.io, and we would love to listen to your specific requirements and recommend you with a perfect optimal solution for your cloud provider.
Thanks. What are the instance types that we are using to make this demo? That has been asked a few times. So maybe Burak, you may wanna explain how we perform the cluster. I mean, how we build the cluster with what kind of CPUs, RAM, how many servers, etc.
Okay. But by the way, let me start the video on AntMedia server because there are some echo. If you still play my stream from there, I think you will drop. Okay, let me explain. What do we have right now in our cluster? Previously, Emma, could you please open that slide? And let me tell on that slide. Okay, this is our test environment. In that environment, we have AntMedia server cluster. We have only one origin server, MongoDB. As you know, it is an important part of our clusters, and we have edge servers. In this demo, we use 25 edge instances. Okay. Each of them can handle about 5,000, actually 1,500. We have some safety margin here, so we created 25 instances. But as you saw from the demonstration, the CPU loss are about 600. Normally, AntMedia server has some threshold values to accept newly coming viewers. That threshold is about 75. We are still far away from that threshold. Also, since the CPU loss for each server is about 600, we are far away from the full capacity actually. So we use 25 instances, but we can handle that load actually with less number of the CPUs. In this demo, we use AWS C5 large instances as edge server. Maybe it will be a smaller instance for origin since we have only one stream. For the load generators, I think still we use C5 large, and as Emre mentioned, we use our test tool to generate load on this. I think there is a question also about the video quality. Its bitrate was 900 kilobit per second. Its default value for multimedia server WebRTC stream, and I'm not sure about the resolution because, as you know, the browser set the resolution according to your network quality. Now my network quality seems to good, so I guess my the stream's resolution was about 640p. Maybe some of you check that. I'm not sure right now because I haven't checked. Any questions about that? By the way, I missed the monitoring tools. Multimedia server can feed Kafka servers with the live statistics, and we used Grafana to demonstrate all these statistics in a good graphics.
The beautiful dashboard, yeah. I really love how Grafana looks.
Okay.
Brock, another question is, how did you how did you use the load test? What is the script or application behind it?
Maybe we can share the link for the test tool documentation. We have our own WebRTC test tool. With that test tool, you can generate parallel streams, or you can generate viewers for a stream. It is a Linux application. It can be just one single comment. You can generate a load with that tool. But in a single server, still it uses WebRTC. The CPU is problem, so we used 20 test servers to generate all this load. Maybe we can share the link for the test tool also.
Yep, we can share it. Another question is, which codec have you used for this demo?
That was H.264.
Thanks.
It's default settings actually. We may try it with the VP8. Test tool support also VP8 and H.264.
Okay, there's another interesting question from Harun. How do phone companies in some countries block WebRTC traffic, such as WhatsApp traffic, and how does a WebRTC app developer get around this?
Let me open. Yes, as far as I know, there are some countries that restrict WebRTC, but most of case, Tor server can help you to create your WebRTC connection. Maybe we can check it in a real case. We need to check the ICE candidates or how the service blocks the service. We need to check that. But Tor server may help you.
Okay, another question is, in fact, this question has come up 2 times. Were the edge instances provisioned in advance, or did they get launched on demand from the load balancer? I mean, were they deployed manually or they provisioned?
Yes, that's a great question actually. Now let me explain this. We created that 25 instances in advance, but still our cluster is auto-scaling cluster, and if we continue to add new loads, it will be extended by auto-scaling mechanism of AWS. But in AWS auto-scaling, it takes some minutes to extend your auto-scaling cluster, because it uses CloudWatch to sense the CPU load. If the CPU load access to the threshold or not. And this takes about 3 minutes at least. So since we have a very short time in this demonstration, we created our instances in advance. Otherwise, if we would created our laws with little steps, if it takes more time, then we can use also auto-scaling and we can scale in the test. Okay?
Okay, thanks. So another question is there a way to start streaming quality from the best available one? So it says, the person who is asking the question says, because it always starts from the bad quality and only after a few seconds it gets improved. So is there a way to just start from the best quality available?
I think that quality, right now we don't have any adaptive streaming, and that quality should be because of the browser setting. As I told before, browser decided to the resolution that it publishes in WebRTC. So maybe a browser started with a lower quality, then increase it step by step according to the network quality. That is something for the for management of the browsers on WebRTC, but still you can restrict your resolution and bitrate values and force the browser to use that values. But in our default settings, browser decides the resolution.
So particularly for this demo, what was the resolution then?
As I said, I haven't checked that resolution. Maybe we can see the resolution if it is available in the recorded file, because we have some statistic that shows the resolution bitrate values. I'm sure that the bitrate is 900 kilobit per second because it is set by us, but the resolution is determined by the browser. So I think it was increased gradually to some value according to my internet quality, but I'm not sure what was it.
Okay.
Maybe we can check and answer this question later.
Okay, maybe there is a very minimum resolution at least that you are sure that is viewed by the end user, right? If there is, I mean.
I think we have lots of questions.
Yeah, another question is maybe, I think we don't have a lot of time. It's only an hour, but we have definitely spent some time to be able to switch from one provider to another. Another question is, have we used GPU accelerated instances here?
No, because we didn't have any adaptive streaming setting right now. GPU instances are meaningful if you have enabled the adaptive streaming, because Media Server uses GPU on transcoding. If you don't have an adaptive streaming setting, then Media Server forwards the incoming frames directly to the output because of to decrease the CPU usage. Okay. So in default settings, there is no adaptive streaming setting. So if we would use GPU instance, it wouldn't change anything since we didn't use adaptive streaming.
Okay, thanks. Another question is, what would happen if we were to use H265 instead of H264? Media
Server supports H265 in WebRTC, but browsers don't support right now, so we couldn't use H265. but Multimedia Server provides an Android SDK, which let you play H265 streams with WebRTC. And in the server side, again, Multimedia Server supports it, but we couldn't use it because of the browsers.
Thanks. Another question is, when scaled to a large number of users, can large images or files be sent without negatively impacting bandwidth? I believe here with large images, we would be expecting like images or files more than 5 or 10 megabytes in size. I'm assuming that is the case. How about this, Burak? What would you say about this case?
The bandwidth is most related to the bitrate, actually. If you, most of things can affect that. If you publish your stream with high frame rate, then if your resolution and bitrate is higher, then it will consume more bandwidth. And if your server cannot handle that bandwidth, then bandwidth will become a bottleneck for you. But in WebRTC, most of the time, the CPU is bottleneck.
Thanks. Another question is, does Advertisement server support 4K, 6K broadcasting?
Yes, we are supporting 4K. We had some demonstrations, some blog posts about that. But we don't have such a blog post or something here for 6K, but there is no restriction about that resolution. Only if you have a good hardware. There is no restrictions in Multimedia Server software side, but hardware should be good enough to handle that load.
Thank you. So Guangzhou asks an interesting question. Since we, as a media server, support AWS wavelength, but what happens, for example, if there are 1,500 users supported under a C5 server, but if there is a switch to wavelength, is the number of users supported under wavelength with the same instance type be different from the original setup?
We can clone that setup to the wavelength zone, actually. The good thing in wavelength zone, its latency will be less than this latency you observe. Because wavelength has its own network environment, it's something isolated and with higher quality, with 5G support. So the network quality is very good in wavelength zone, and the latency is less there. We have also some on wavelength, and they are also documented with blog post. Maybe we can provide the link for the wavelength document.
Okay, let me send it.
Mm-hmm. Another question from Sami is, what is the delta when the source stream is injected using RTMP instead of WebRTC?
Actually, that is one question. Before this session, we discussed with my friend which protocol can be used, and we decided to WebRTC. We can do this demonstration with RTMP. There is no difference for each case, actually, in terms of the software and the performance. That's only our choice. We're using WebRTC. We did some similar tests for different number of the viewers previously with the RTMP, and they are also documented blog post.
Thanks. One final question that I would like to have and ask to you is, does WebRTC or Media server have any known issues with specific browsers? So is it something that, are there any known issues with, for example, Safari or Firefox or any other browser that you may know of?
As far as I know, there is no, because if we have any issue with the browsers, then that will be fixed in that week. If such issue is reported, we always make the browser support work. Okay, so far there is no issue. So sometimes we had some issues because of the versions of browsers, and we solved that immediately.
Thank you. Emre, do you have any additional information that you may want to add on top?
Yeah, we do have a few announcements to make. So we have a brand new documentation platform that you can reach at resources.antmedia.io to learn more about Antmedia server and discover new features that you haven't used before. We also have a community platform available to join in on the discussions and collaborate with the vibrant community that is around Antmedia server. You can reach that at community.antmedia.io. We also have a coupon code available for you that you can use with the pay-as-you-go license, and it will provide you with 200 free hours of streaming, and the coupon code is Antmedia Webinar that you can see on the slide. You can use that within a week, and you will get the 200 hours off on top of the already 100 hours of free streaming, so 300 in total, after your first month. So we would again like to thank you all for attending our webinar and joining us today. So thank you for being with us, and that's all, I guess. That's all we have to say today. And if you have any further questions or concerns, you can reach us over at contact@antmedia.io or support@antmedia.io, and we would love to help with any questions or concerns you might have. And that's all from me. Have a great day, and see you guys later then. We are also open to any feedback that you have, and if you have any other topics that you would like to see a webinar on, we would love to hear those as well on the community platform.
Thank you all.
Thanks for joining again. So see you guys in another webinar.